kind of a unique story for us. It all started with a CRF 450 dirt bike. We started heading out to the desert with our friends and family and just looking to have a good time. We'd go to the river in the summertime and we were looking for something fun to do in the wintertime.
We started with the dirt bikes, the quads, we had a good time with that. And then my brother one day, I remember he picked me up at the airport when I was coming back from a work trip and he's like, "Hey, don't shoot me." He's like, "But I just bought a Rhino yesterday." I'm like, "Huh? A Rhino?"
I went online, this is when UTV Underground was first starting to come out, and I saw all the amazing things they were doing to these Rhinos. Long travel kits, cages, doors.
He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna put some stuff into it, I'm gonna fix it up." I'm like, "Really?" So literally I get from LAX back to my office, and next thing you know, this Rhino he bought yesterday is stripped down. It's cut, the whole top's off, and I'm like, "You bought this yesterday?" He's like, "Yeah."
Took the car into my shop myself. We have a welding fabrication shop out of one of our businesses. I have no experience welding.
So basically he started hacking this thing apart. He had pictures of cars he liked that he got off of UTV Underground. At the time he thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Basically chopped the car down and welded up what I thought was a badass race car, but looking back on it, it was pretty ugly. There wasn't a straight line on it, and it was the furthest thing from a race car.
It was more or less dubbed by the other teams later, looking back when they felt comfortable telling us, Top Hat.
In 2009, there was a Best in the Desert race in Henderson, I think it was. It was right on my birthday. We had the Rhino. And I said, well, hey, what better way to spend my birthday than going out and racing?
He's like, "Hey, we're going racing." So he did his research, he looked at all the series, and he said, "Hey, I think Best in the Desert's the place. They got the best teams, they got good competition, let's go out there." So we spent a week or so, all-nighters, just getting the car from a play car to a race car.
We had painter masks, dirt bike helmets, red gas cans, and the goal was to just go out and finish the race.
I remember our first 300 yards in the dust off the start line. You come off 2 at a time. Couldn't see your hand in front of your face, and I think we got passed by about 4 cars in the first 300 yards. And I was like, "How do people drive in the dust like this? You can't see your hand in front of your face." We had smiles ear to ear, chugging along 30, 40 miles an hour.
Our eyes just opened up to the world of UTVs.
And we've had some good laughs with some of our friends and competitors like Jagged X, talking about the very stories, at that first race back in '09 when we showed up. It was, "Who are these guys? What are you doing here?" And, and we got some pretty good stories with that first car.
We went out, we had a blast. We finished 3rd overall in our very first race. I looked across the seat at my brother when we finished, and I said, "You want to do it again?" The 2010 kicked off, and we did the whole 2010 season.
We put in that full 2010 series, and I think we finished off that year in 3rd place overall. Coming out with a 3rd, we felt pretty confident. So at that point, we started looking into options, and we're like, do we go and get a truck? Do we stay in the UTV class? What should we do? We want to have fun. Let's go faster. And then we got word, Can-Am was coming out with a car, and it was 1,000 cc. And we're like, 1,000 cc? It's made by BRP. They make some of the best stuff. We're like, let's look into this. And we decided a Commander was the option. We felt back in '11 when Can-Am was getting into the game, they're always the best at what they do. We said, you know what? If they're getting in and they're coming out with this Commander in '11, imagine where they're going to be in 5 years. And it was the best decision we ever made.
We went out and won the first Mint 400 for Can-Am, the very first time that the UTVs were able to race.
We came out swinging at that race. That car was flawless all day, and we walked away with the win, and that was our first major win.
Winning the Mint 400 was one of the biggest things that had happened to us, and we utilized that and helped kick off this whole race career.
Kind of kick things off, and we felt like put Can-Am on the map, and from there the rest was history.
SCORE championship, which was awesome for us in Murray Racing. We're a 2-time SCORE milestone award winner, which means you covered every mile of every race. In BITD, we actually finished 49 consecutive desert races without a DNF.
So the progression from day one to today is absolutely amazing. I mean, you had privateers and a few factory supported teams back in '09. Nowadays, I mean, you have full factory programs at the highest level, and it's just crazy to see the progression of the sport.
Now there's 100, 150 cars at any given race. It's no longer a weekend warrior class. It's some of the best drivers in the world are racing in the UTV class right now.
What's been awesome over the progression of the sport is we've been able to work with Can-Am from the Commander back in 2011, up from there all the way into the Maverick 2-seater, the Maverick 4-seater, a turbo 4-seater, all the way into the X3 2-seater and an X3 4-seater. So we've literally built a race car on every Can-Am platform, and what's cool is we've put every one of those cars on the podium. I really think it speaks volumes of the product, the reliability, and the durability of what these things can do, and that's why we work with Can-Am.
Desert racing is a really family-oriented sport, and it's awesome that I get to do this with my brother, Derek.
I love doing this with my brother. It's something fun, it's something we really look forward to doing for years to come. Really what I love about racing is when you're doing it, you're focused on one thing. In life, you got work, family, there's a million things happening in this world. And what's awesome, whether you're out recreationally riding or racing, is you're focused on what's in front of you. You're doing one thing and doing it well, and that's driving to the best of your ability.
I never would have thought when I put my Rhino on the track for the first time in 2009, this would be the outcome.